Today we're talking about album artwork and how it can influence us to buy records. We are talking about checking out concerts. We're talking about Maiden versus Priest and tons more coming up right now. Hi, my name is Frank.
I'm Sherry.
Welcome to Channel 33 RPM, your channel for vinyl gear and more. I used to call these segments AMA, but I don't like the AMA anymore. I'm doing away with that.
Why?
I don't know. I just AMA. I got tired of it. Now I'm just going to call it responding to viewer comments and questions. I guess I changed it. I don't want to be restricted to just questions. Sometimes someone leaves a comment on a video and I want to respond to it.
Welcome to responding to viewer comment and questions.
Love vinyl? Why not tell the world with a Channel 33 RPM t-shirt? All proceeds help this channel continue to grow. Link below this video. I appreciate your support.
Tom Fergus writes, I've been wondering about your feelings regarding album cover art and packaging. Does the art of the packaging have any influence on you to buy something? I mean, artists that you're not familiar with but are intrigued enough to buy the packaging, buy the packaging to give it a shot. Would love to hear your thoughts on package art covers and if you have any albums with special packaging features.
I got lots of... Well, you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Well, I'll go first because I don't have any specifically to show. But yeah, if something looks interesting, I might buy it based off of either the album artwork or something that's written on it. Frank knows I am like... my superpower is being able to walk into any store and finding something to buy. So
That's true.
Whatever catches my attention the most gets my bills.
Yeah. And for me, too, I mean, I can't underscore the importance of artwork on albums, and particularly records, because you have that 12-inch by 12-inch real estate. So for sure, I've been sucked into buying albums before based on artwork and packaging, sometimes for better or sometimes for worse. I got a couple examples here from when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a kid, there's this chain of stores here in Canada called Canadian Tire. They sell like automotives and household stuff, but back up until the 80s, Canadian Tire had a record section. So my dad would go look at tools and stuff, and I would go look at the records. I remember staring at this album multiple times. Just this, if you can, I don't want to put it in front of your face.
That's okay.
It's Ozzy Osbourne. Got a glare on it there.
Sorry. I just say like, dude can bite the head off bats. So I'm picking that one up.
Anyway, it's Ozzy Osbourne, Speak of the Devil. And I just remember I was like 10 years old looking at the song titles on here, like Fairies Wear Boots and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and thinking,
this has got to be
good. This? And Ozzy's here is like spitting out, it's supposed to be blood, but it's
like Jello.
Jelly or jam or something. But anyway.
But back in the day, it would have looked like blood.
Yes. So this is one album when I had the money, I got it just because of the album artwork. I mean, another one was Kiss Alive, right? I remember staring at this and thinking and by the time, so Kiss took off their makeup in 83, I was already 10 years old. But I mean, I went back and found this stuff, and I was just fascinated by the makeup Kiss would wear and the fire. And of course, Alive has the iconic cover where they're live in concert. And it was just, obviously got my attention. And even up to the 90s, like the Donnas, I didn't know anything about them, and I saw this.
I would have bought that album based on that cover.
Well, yeah, it's girls in their 90s having a slumber party. So what self-respecting 20-something-year-old wouldn't buy this? Anyway, it's a phenomenal record. The Donnas were great, but that's another one. But I mean, packaging, there's so many great examples over the years of great packaging. I mean, you had albums like this one, Alice Cooper, Muscle of Love. And it says, this carton contains one Alice Cooper Muscle of Love. It's a cardboard box.
It's shaped wrong for a Muscle of Love, that's all I'm saying.
It is, yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's an example of great packaging. That's one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is Led Zeppelin 3.
Oh, this is the one I would have said.
We'll come to that one in a second.
Sorry.
But I mean, the Spinning Circle and Led Zeppelin 3. And there's this one, like Alice Cooper's School's Out, which for the time was quite controversial because it came with a pair of women's underwear.
Well, not underwear, but Isn't that the album that opens up like a school desk?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I liked
Yeah,
about
it goes like that, and the legs open, and the album cover converts into a school desk. So there's so many examples of great packaging over the years, and there's no doubt that it influences people to buy these records, and it's influenced me over the years, and influenced yourself as well. So yeah, that's a good question. Album artwork, love it. I wish more bands or record companies would sort of invest in cool packaging, because it's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit today in terms of like some of the really cool stuff.
Excuse me. Updates available.
Shut up.
It's my computer. That's our cue to go to the next question.
From Leprechaun. Sherry, how are you doing during the COVID-19?
This is a question for you, my dear.
For me? Oh, thank you for asking. I don't know. I think we all have our ups and downs right now. So we had actually hit a point where we live where we went with 0 cases, 0 new cases, and we got all of our people down to fully recovered and
That was in July.
it was
like
in
2
July.
weeks. There's
Yeah.
nothing.
For 2 weeks straight, we had no new cases. And things had happened and people were excited, and other things had happened as well. And so as a result of everything, we've blown up. So we're kind of, now did they say we're in a second wave, or we must be,
Oh.
because we hit 0 and now we're back up around
Thousands, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're up around, I think, 12 to 1,300. And when I say the numbers, it sounds like a lot more probably if you're living somewhere in a bigger city. But where we are, we're actually quite in a small area. Our whole, what's our province?
A million people.
Yeah, our whole province. So not just like the city, but the whole province where we live is about 1 million people. So it's fairly small. So where we're at right now, we're kind of going back into quarantining. We've had the conversations with some of our family members about, it was fun to see you over the summer, but we're all going to be keeping our distance again and stepping back. And I count my blessings, because I always know that it could be worse. So that's kind of how we're going there. I don't know if I'll feel the same when I look back, once it's all done and we're all moved out of the situation. I'll probably have some reflecting to do, but I don't try to reflect too much as we're going through it.
Me too.
Derek Paplau writes, okay, Frank, I have an AMA for you that's been nagging at me since I started watching your videos. Please explain to us a little bit more in depth about why you prefer Priest over Maiden. I think everybody deserves an explanation. I get that it's different strokes for different folks. I come down on the Maiden side of this question, and it isn't close. I just love to hear why you're a Priest guy.
It's like the age-old question: the Beatles or the Stones, Priest or Maiden? And I don't have an easy answer. I mean, some bands just speak to you more than others do. I love Priest. I like Maiden. Some of their more current stuff, I feel they could use a better producer, and the songs could use a bit of an edit. They go on a bit. I mean, Maiden's always been a phenomenal live band, and they continue to be. I'm just not much into their newer stuff. Bruce has an ego maybe that's a little too large, if I dare say so. And I do think Maiden think very highly of themselves maybe, and Priest might be a bit more humble. But I don't know. I've always just been a Priest guy. I really don't know what the reason for it is. I think Rob's voice might be part of it. I think he's the ultimate heavy metal singer, or at least he was in his prime. Like Halford 82 to 85 was on top of the world. I always love the twin guitar tack of KK and Glenn, and I don't know. I am just a Priest guy, but I'm not going to diss Maiden either. It's just I am on Team Priest. Any thoughts?
Well, I can't say I'm really on a team,
Yeah.
because I don't listen to either very much. I will say that I like Maiden's record covers better.
Yeah.
And I will say that I like Halford's voice better.
You know what? I'm going to say this. This is controversial, but I don't think Maiden would have got anywhere near as far as they had if it wasn't for Eddie and their album artwork. I think that played a large part of what has made Maiden iconic. It's just their imagery. Because you can ask any 13-year-old girl you can ask anyone, and they know what Maiden is, largely due to Eddie. And you see all sorts of people wearing Maiden shirts for that reason, where you don't see anyone really, or few people who don't know Priest actually wearing their shirts. So
Finally, a chick that looks worse than I do. I'll wear a shirt.
anyway, it's no diss to Maiden at all. I do dig them. But anyway, let's go to the next one.
Okay, from Dave Leon, my question would be, what group's albums did you start buying after seeing them in concert? I'm referring to either unknown or opening bands. I'll give you my personal experience. I saw Simple Minds, good group, at Radio City in 1989. The opening band was The Call. They mostly played songs from their then current album, Reconciled. I was very impressed with their music and went out the very next day to buy that album, and I was not disappointed. It's a great album.
I do have an example, but do you have anything?
I'm going to have to think about it while you talk, because for me, I'd always kind of gone to see a band because of it, and I'm trying to think if any of the opening bands ever stood out, and I can't think of any.
One for me, I saw Soundgarden sometime in mid-90s, maybe 94, 95, and the Reverend Horton Heat opened up for Soundgarden. It was a big arena tour. I never heard of...
Just a minute, I gotta cough again. You gotta start again.
Reverend Horton Heat opened up for Soundgarden on their arena tour, and they came through town. I never heard of them. As soon as they came on stage, it's like, wow, these guys are phenomenal. And Reverend Horton Heat, if you've never heard of them, they call themselves psychobilly. Psychobilly. It's kind of like rockabilly with it's heavy rockabilly, it's psychedelic rock. I don't know. You just got to check out the Reverend Horton Heat. And I try to check those guys out every time they are in town, and the Rev always puts on a great show. And at least before this whole world situation, it seemed like they came through town on an annual basis. So I always love catching those guys. All right, that is today's episode of, I was going to say Ask Me Anything, but it's not called Ask Me Anything.
Thank you for querying a YouTube personality with your questions and comments and kind words. Is that what we're calling it now?
Guys, if you dug today's video, please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? If you have a question for the next episode of whatever we call these, please leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, dear 33ers, we hope each and every one of you has a fantastic week. Until next time, keep on spinning. You know what? I'll answer this question, but I realized I was so excited to do this video, I never introduced myself.
You're Frank.
I'm Frank.
I'm Sherry.
And this is Channel 33 RPM.
And we just jumped right in.
We
didn't even put our pants on. Look at that.
That's why the camera ends right here. Today we're talking about albums of... No.
Oh, you know who we did like? Was when we went to Corblund. That opening act, we bought his CD.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember his name.
Mike something.
He was pretty good. Now I can't remember who he is. Don't put that in there.